Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1485. Happy hell, what day is it? Wednesday. Happy hump day. It's trash day. My trash is at the curb. It was one of those that snuck up on me. And as I was taking Ernie out to do his morning business, I'm like, oh crap. So I've got a trash down here in the basement. Think I've got to take the trash out in the kitchen, but it's at the curb. We got a lot of rain yesterday. We got some storms that rolled. I drove through. I went to Chicago, picked up the collection, which initially was like over 200,000 cards. The guy who had reached out to me about it said it's over 200,000 cards. It was significantly. So when I got there and they showed me, and the owner of the collection ended up saying, he's like, yeah, I think there's about 300,000 cards. So it's like, I don't know if it's going to fit in your SUV. And I'm like, 300,000, it'll fit. I'm going to have to use the front seat, the floors to the roof. We'll get it in. So we had a nice little assembly line and it all fit. My car's a little weighted down, which would be good in the winter. Good weight for the winter. Baseball cards, good weight for the winter. My dad used sandbags. I just used baseball cards. So I'll talk about it. Was it worth it? It was a semi-blind buy. Was it worth it? And I talked about it yesterday before I left, that based on the pictures, it could be a big dud. It could be a waste of most of a day, a waste of money. And I still don't know. I haven't begun to dig, but I do have a different, I wouldn't say a different viewpoint, but I have a better outlook now. So there's your little spoiler alert. So what else is going on? It is Wednesday. We did eBay Live last night. Take a drink. I'll be live again tonight. Last night we did 80s at 8. I wasn't as prepared for the 80s at 8 as I thought I was. And I right now, and being gone for, I guess I was only gone for like 24 hours over the weekend, but it's, it takes a lot. And this month is going to be hectic. So I should probably just, unless like the 74 set break, which I'm a little concerned about, if I go through with it. Obviously, I'm not going to do it this week because I need time to promote it properly. But we'll see. And in fact, it might be like a Sunday type deal, but I don't know. I don't know much. But I do know I'm going to go on eBay Live tonight at 7:00 Central, and it's going to be a request, which I feel so much more comfortable with requests. I've got the 80s at 8 last night, and I've got a few stacks of cards, and that's it. That's it. It's like, are you going to do a lot? Well, we did one lot, and it went well. Like, I think it was a 44 card lot. It sold for $16, which I'm okay with. It was like 82 tops, Rod Carew and stuff. So I feel like, what's 16 divided by 44? And it might have been, I don't know who the high bidder was, but if it was in like a bulk buy, there is some, I won't lose as much in shipping. So what is 16? That's 36 cents a card. And I think many of those cards would have been quarter box cards. So I'm happy. You get 36 cents a card. And I think with some early 80s stuff, a buyer would be happy with that. So I think that's that was a good sale. I think the best part about last night's eBay Live was a lot of the stuff that I bought yesterday morning was flipped last night. Some of the slabs, some of the Reggie Jackson slabs, some of the just 82 Donruss and tops were already sold last night. So that was a good thing. So yeah, that was my day. I drove down. It was a smooth. The funny thing was, I don't know if I mentioned this in the show yesterday, but when he sent me the address, I have a friend who she has like a basement bar with a certain name. It's an interesting name. And it's the same kind of like the title is kind of the same as the street that this was on. And I'm like, I wonder if her bar is named after the street she lives on. So we have a big group chat. It's a Cubs fan, and we have a big group chat. And so I'm like, is this near the bar? And she's like, oh my God, that's like right across the street from my house. And another person that is in kind of our Cubs circle lives on like the other side. So pretty crazy in the city of Chicago, across the street from a friend of mine. So drove down, smooth drive, nice and sunny, good drive. I got there. My GPS, I don't know, my GPS has timing like a Garmin in 1999. Like, remember those old Garmins that it's like, it's going to take you 7 hours and 14 minutes to get to your destination, and it takes 90 minutes. I feel like my car GPS is like, it used to be like spot on, but now I don't know if my car like doesn't trust me or doesn't expect me to drive faster than the speed limit. But I ended up beating, and that was a fun game with the old Garmins. Like, all right, it says it's going to take an hour. I'm going to get there in 44 minutes, set a new record. And so, but you can't do that because the GPS, it's a lot smarter than it used to be 25 years ago. So, so yeah, I think I beat it by like a half an hour. It's like, I think my original ETA was like 12:15. I got there at like 11:40. So, and I kept up, I'm like, ETA 12:10. And I'm like, it might take me, if there's no place to park, it might, I'll, tack on another 5 minutes. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, it looks like it's going to be 12 o'clock. Oh, it's going to be 11:50. Sorry. So not as smooth of a drive back because we got a really heavy storm that rolled through. Fortunately, I was in the Belvedere Oasis when the hardest rain fell. Like the skies were ominous, and I hadn't eaten lunch. It was, I don't know, 1 or 1:30, and I'm like, I want to stop somewhere, just get something quick. And I'm like, I'm just gonna get McDonald's. There was a long line at McDonald's. I actually told a story last night on eBay Live that I ate McDonald's for lunch, and then I realized later, I'm like, wait a second, I didn't eat McDonald's. That was the plan. And I ended up getting Sbarro, which was okay. Watched the rain fall. I get home, did some shipping, picked up Ernie. All of a sudden, I started watching on Netflix the Tylenol murders documentary. Now, this is like, because it happened here or close to here, and close to where I grew up, kind of close to where I grew up, Chicago suburbs, and in the early 80s. Now, I think I was probably a newborn when it happened. It was in 1982, and I think it was in like August or September of 82. So I was just a little 3-month-old. And but I remember, like, as a kid in the 80s, like, there was still fear by 85, 86, 87. There was that fear still, especially because we were semi-local to where it happened. There was still that fear around Tylenol and all of that. But there's a new documentary on Netflix. It's a 3-part documentary, and it's kind of interesting. With most programs, documentaries, shows, I lose interest fast, ADD or something. The first episode was like, oh yeah, this is really good. And then the second one, it's like, I thought the first part was better. And then the third part, I'm like just completely zoned out. But if you're into that sort of thing, it's on Netflix. So I watched that, and all of a sudden I look at the clock, it's 6:30. I'm like, oh shit. I ate the pizza at Sbarro was so big that I didn't eat dinner. And I'm like, I should probably eat something. But I didn't. And I'm like, I better go because I don't even think I had like my shell listings posted yet. So came down, and it would have been a nice, like I was tired, driving takes a lot out of me. I, I don't know. Traveling is just, it's tiresome. So it would have been nice, but we made some money on eBay Live last night. So, and we're going to run it back tonight and see how things go tonight. I ended up doing, it was a short stream. I think I was done in 2 hours. So my if you want to calculate out the money made per hour, it was a lot higher. But unfortunately, I talked yesterday about my eBay rep called me and said, "Hey, I figured out a fix for your combined shipping," and it didn't work. Somebody in the chat, in the eBay Live chat last night, was like, "Hey, it's not combining the shipping." I'm like, So, but I have my scheduled weekly call with my eBay rep today, later this morning. So, be like, it didn't work. But on eBay Live in the console, there's a new pop-up that says offer combined shipping discounts to make things easier. Set up shipping rules to apply to your eBay Live listings, and we'll use them to automatically combine shipping costs for you. So I'm just going to click on this, and because I've got combined payments. I've got my shipping rules. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they're not talking to my business policies. I don't know. So that's where I'm at. Let's go to the chat. Say hello. Unicorn Cupcake is in the house. Good morning. Red Light 34 is here. He's in the crane. What's happening? Zach and Porter in the house. He's at the bus stop. Peter, happy today. Kyle says, good morning. What's up, Kyle? Glad to finally catch a show. I was wondering. I'm like, I hope we didn't lose you. Kyle is back. Cooter's here. Good morning from the I-35 Tiger King exit. Excellent. Drive safe. Safe travels to Fort Worth. Red Light says, thanks for the live. Got some good stuff. Yeah, you got some good stuff. The hell was that? We got some slabs. We auctioned off some slabs. Some good stuff. Orlando's here. What's going on? Odd Merchant's in the house. He says semi-blind lots are tough. They usually sugarcoat the picks with a few good slabs and autos. The rest is cherry-picked sets with the main cards pulled out and junk wax galore. Fortunately, that wasn't the case with this one. Fortunately, that wasn't the case with yesterday's lot, because that was my concern. And I talked about it yesterday. Was, well, in the photos, it was like lower, I wouldn't say lower end slabs, because there were some decent slabs, but not really liquid. Although pretty much anything's liquid on eBay Live. So that's a good thing. The vintage was low grade, and I'll do a little show and tell. The vintage was low grade and not really, the all-stars and league leader cards, some of the pictures that I showed off yesterday, and then just a bunch of boxes. And it's like, well, that's probably a bunch of 91 Fleer. So if there's not anything good in those boxes, I'm fucked. Drop the F-bomb. Where's my F-bomb? So that was my concern going in. Fortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case, at least based on the first couple boxes. And it only took me a few, but I'm like, okay, well, and I know there's going to be a lot of junk wax. Absolutely. When you buy 300,000 cards, there's going to be a lot of junk wax. But I think it's going to be a lot better than what my anticipation was, my expectations. Orlando says it's great to flip stuff immediately. It is. It makes me feel productive. When I buy 300,000 cards, because usually I don't flip it this fast. Usually it's like a Goodwill pal. It's like I'm just going to take it to the storage unit and it sits, which is not good. And that's why I end up with 4 million cards and an overage of inventory. And it's like I need to move this stuff fast. And now I've been doing that. And that is a good thing. Now, if only I could move the commons and the junk, the stuff that's in my storage unit, if only I could move that stuff fast, then I'd be set. Found Treasures is here. What's going on? Odd Merchant says, as long as 90% of the buys are good, the 10% of the bad is okay. Absolutely. Red light says update the software on it on my GPS. How do you do that? How do you do that? I'm sure there's like a button you just update. Southeast Wisconsin and Upper Illinois was a hotbed for lunatics in the 80s. Yeah, 70s, 80s. Cody's in the house. Good morning. Tylenol, Dahmer, Gacy. You go back a few decades. You had Ed Gein here in Wisconsin, the genesis of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre character, Leatherface. Yeah, a lot of psychos. Rich says, Uncle Rich, good morning. Hi there. Sorry I missed your show last night. How went the buying of the collection and the auction last night? Win-win. Win-win. I'll show off some of the goodies. Already sold a bunch of the stuff that I picked up. So I'd call that a win-win. And we'll run it back tonight. Throw some more of the stuff that I'll pick through tonight. Got a lot of shipping, though. Got to catch up on the shipping. Flawed Thinker, good morning. Royals 417, good morning. Found Treasures, good morning from atop the Townsend Inlet Bridge, Avalon, New Jersey. What's going on? Hello, New Jersey. Philly Joe, good morning. Gem City Card Show's in the house. What's up? Rich says, last year I bought a vintage deal at the Dallas Card Show and used that as the bait to flip the other stuff I bought in 2024. Everyone was happy. Hey, when both parties walk away happy, that's a win-win. And good morning to you. Gem City says, Ed was misunderstood, LOL, but really, he's not on the Dahmer level. And isn't the story like Ed Gein, like I think he only murdered one, he only murdered one person, or maybe it was two. I think he killed his mom, but I think Ed Gein was like his fucked up shit was he like was a grave digger. Like, he was just fucking around with corpses and then like making skin masks. And so, I mean, was he a psychopath? 100%. Did he kill a bunch of people? I don't think so. Jim said he said he only killed one, but mutilated the corpses and made ornaments. Yeah. It's fucked up. That's fucked up. So let's talk about the collection I bought yesterday. 300,000 cards. This got lined up again thanks to James. Used to work with Ty at Chasing Cardboard. Now he's at the Awesome Card Shop in Vegas. So he had gave me the contact information. He's like, hey, this guy's got this big collection. He's trying to move, and he's in Chicago. I'm like, oh, awesome, thank you. So I reached out, and he showed me the pictures that I shared yesterday, and it's like, I don't know about this. And so I said, based on what I see, this is, and I always ask the price first. He gave me a price. I'm like, I wasn't even close to that price. So I said, honestly, this is where I'm at. And he said, let me talk to him, to the owner of the collection. And he's like, no, he wants to stick to that number. There is a lot of modern, surprisingly. There's a lot of modern. So I didn't ask, and we had a good conversation. We talked quite a bit. I don't know if he had 8 to 10K wrapped up in 8 to 10K was the number he wanted. I don't know if that's what he had in it. And so he was just trying to recoup and then didn't have any takers. And then, a month goes by and they follow up and they're like, okay, he's willing to, he just needs to get rid of it. So I'm like, I'll still, I'll pay 2K. And so I drove down and loaded. We had a nice little assembly line. So it was he moved into this house and it was all in like the downstairs. I don't think maybe it was a basement, but so they were, they were hauling it up and I was Tetrising it in the SUV. We got it all to fit, ended up being about 300,000 cards, ranging from 1955 to 2024. So a wide range. A lot of the boxes I'm pulling out, it's like modern. I pulled a box of either Mosaic or Prism basketball, and it's like LeBron James, Steph Curry, Luka. I'm like, okay, all right. I'm expecting just all commons, like with the exception of what's shown. I'm like, it's probably going to be all commons, but I'm hoping there's stars that I can move. And, Luka, Steph Curry, that stuff flies on eBay Live. So, and I'll put some of those up tonight. So So I didn't really get a chance to even look through the stuff. We were moving it all in. So when I got home, I opened a few boxes and I was watching the documentary. I was going through some boxes and I'm like, okay, I think this is going to end up being better. There was a box, because I had the front seat stacked up. I was going through, to stoplight. I'm like, okay, there's some good stuff in here. So yeah, I think from that point of view, it's going to be good. I'll show off some stuff. Cody says, are you advertising new pickups on eBay Live or just labeling shows as singles? Pretty much just labeling shows as singles. It's kind of like because right now I'm just, and here's the reason why I'm not. I don't like to be handcuffed to, say, the 80s. It's not as fun for me, and I don't know if it's as fun for everybody. Whereas in like last night's show, it was all 80s, but they were shell listings. So I'm still like hesitant on the themes, and I go back and forth on it. And I think it is important to do some themes, but I think it's also important just to do whatever people want. And I think whatever people want drives bidding wars. Whereas it's like, well, only one or two people want this 1982 Topps George Brett. Whereas if it's like, if somebody wants George Brett in a request, maybe they're the only one, but maybe 3 or 4 people want it and it gets bid up to $10. You never know. So I'm still balancing it out. And at this point, I haven't been advertising new pickups on eBay Live. It's something that I will do. Early on, my intent, I wasn't going to do shell listings until like the National. I'm not going to do shell listings. I'm going to curate my auctions. And it's like, if I want to flip cards fast, that's not the way to go. I've got to do just shell listings, requests. What do you want? I have tonight. I don't know how tonight will go. I didn't expect much on Sunday night and it blew away all my previous shows. I did a show on last Thursday night. I was disappointed. I come back and did a Friday show at 10 a.m. and it blew Thursday night out of the water. So I never know. But yes, I will be advertising new pickups at some point. Take for instance, tonight, it's kind of a request show, and it is a request show. And while there will be some pickups from Saturday's card show, there will be pickups from yesterday's collection. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's not really new. Now, I could just blow smoke up your ass and say, oh, all this is new. I just got this in the collection, but I'm not about that. So, I'd like to do at least one show from like my hotel at the National. Again, it kind of depends on the Wi-Fi connection. So it's going to be kind of a play by ear. That will be like, hey, I picked these up at the National, and I think that's good marketing. People be like, oh, the National. If they can't go, like, ooh, what can we get through you? So I will at some point. I'll advertise new pickups and that. Right now, I'm just trying to keep my head above water and go through it. Flawed Thinker says, hopefully there are some diamonds in the rough. Rich says, oh, and yes, the comment about not really looking is what I did with that vintage stuff I referred to. Took them out of my trunk, looked a bit. It would have been a nice deal. Next day, they left my room and went to another car. There you go. Cooter says, how about a food issue, Broder and Oddball Live? That's a possibility in the future. That's something I'd have to curate and really do some work on as far as, right now, my room on camera actually looks pretty clean, with the exception of the water bottle on the counter behind me. And then, actually, there's really nothing on my counter. Now, my floor, you can't see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 boxes that are on the floor next to me. And the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 piles of cards to the right of me. So I've just in at some point I want to get caught up, and that's like the never-ending story. The never-ending theme is getting caught up. So I can usually it's when we have people over or the cleaners come and it's like, okay, now I'm forced to get shit cleaned up. But right now my focus today is going to be on shipping. And that's the good thing about the request shows on eBay Live is I don't have to curate and get scanned in and do all of that back end work, where I can just have 27 boxes on the floor and be like, oh, what do you want? And try to dig through and find what people are looking for. Michael Renicky, good morning. That 70s card show's in the house. Speaking of blowing out of the water, smoke up my ass. Happy Pride Month to all. Gem City says, when can I buy the 1 Million Cubs franchise and get a time slot? There you go. And that is something that I will be entertaining in the future, is expanding my footprint and having other people sell on my channel. So, we can, and that's something that I've got to, talk through and figure out the logistics and, all of that stuff. I still don't feel like I have a feel for live selling. I've done a lot of I've done 30 shows, probably, maybe more than that. And I'm still trying to get my feet on the ground. John says, my basement is the messiest it's ever been. Construction, weekly pizza nights for dozens of years. It's a complete shit show. We'll be renovating my card room in 2 weeks. Gem City says, I will demand a rug in my living room. Stream setup. There you go. So yesterday's collection was kind of highlighted by a bunch of slabs and vintage. And like the vintage was, like a 58 Topps All-Star Eddie Matthews. And it's, it's in rough shape. I would consider that poor to maybe even fair. Probably not VG. I don't think this was in the photos that I saw, but Hank Aaron, 58 All-Star. It looks like it was run over by a miniature bulldozer or something. It's got streaks. 58 All-Star Frank Robinson. Ernie Banks with Paper Loss. You got Stan Musial. Another Ernie Banks. A lot of like lower end names like Bob Turley, Herb Score, Bob Friend, a couple of Bob Friends, Jackie Jensen. So this more Bob Turleys, Frank Malzone, another Jackie Jensen, Louis Aparicio, another Jackie Jensen. There was a 69, just absolute beater of a Johnny Bench 69 Topps card, creased and colored. This Richie Ashburn's in pretty good shape. Or wait, no, it's got some the corners aren't that great. Maybe it was the Robin Roberts was looking good. 58 Topps Robin Roberts, Frank Robinson, Harmon Killebrew. So there's some decent vintage in here. You got the famous slugger, the Babe Ruth special. Leader cards, Warren Spahns on that one. Some more leader cards. And then you got some 69 All-Stars, Rod Carew. You got old Curt Flood. There's another Carew. Campaneris. Here's a Johnny Bench. You got Yastrzemski. You got Bob Gibson. You got Brooks Robinson. A couple of Brooks Robinsons. Another Bob Gibson. A Willie McCovey. This is a beater. A 57 Frank Robinson. Here's Clemente on a league leaders card, and Willie Mays. Here's the home run leaders card from 73. Tony Oliva, Denny McClain, Kuzman, another Yaz. We got Ray Boone. This is 53 Topps. Ted Kazansky, not Kaczynski, Kazansky. Jimmy Pearsall, Carl Olson, some commons. So Johnny Padres. Got a Cubby, Don Hoke. So some good stuff. So that was the vintage. It was shown off. What else? There was these looks like Cubs. Not much in there. And then there were a bunch of slabs. Some of the slabs I sold last night. So this was kind of what I was basing everything on. We got a 72 Topps Carlton Fisk rookie card. It's low grade, a PSA 2. You got a Paul Skeens SGC 10 rookie of the year, Topps Now. What else was in here? A bunch of Reggie Jacksons. You got a 59 Topps Willie Miranda PSA 5. 87 Topps. Oh, I don't know who graded this. This had to have been graded in trademark on front version. Had to have been graded in 2020. Sending 87s in. You got a Greg Maddux rated rookie in an SGC 8. You got a Mike Trout, Stars of MLB in a 9. Here's a Reggie Jackson 2017 Topps and a PSA 8. There was a lot of Reggie Jacksons. 82 Topps traded Reggie Jackson in a PSA 8. Let's see. You got a home run leaders card, including Reggie Jackson in a PSA 7 for a 72. That's a decent grade. How about a score glossy PSA 10? A 10. Reggie Jackson PSA 10 score glossy. There weren't any comps on Reggie, but a lot of PSA 10 88 score glossies go between $50 and $100. Here's a 78 Topps Reggie Jackson in a PSA 8. This is pretty cool. A 77 cloth sticker Reggie Jackson in a PSA 7. Let's see. What else? We got a 79 Burger King Reggie Jackson. Actually, you know what? Is that a Burger King? I don't know. It's in a 6. 78 Topps record breaker to PSA 6. 87 Topps turn back the clock PSA 9. 82 Topps PSA 6 and a 78 in a PSA 4. And then there was also a top traded Maddux in a PSA 8 that sold last night on eBay Live. There were some other Reggies. Can't remember what else I sold. I think an 80. Oh, a Burger King in like an 8, I think, sold. Maybe 2 or 3 other Reggie Jackson slabs. Like I said, there's modern. I pulled out of one box. There was a bunch of Lucas and Steph Currys and LeBrons. There were a lot of modern. I pulled a bunch of Jackson Holiday rookies out of a box. Bunch of refractors in one of the boxes. So there was some good stuff. I haven't even found I know there's at least one 5-row box of all 70s, like early 70s cards. So that was part of what I was kind of basing my price on, and everything else is going to be, is what I shared and, other stuff. Is that going to get me to 2K? No. It's going to take other stuff that's hopefully in the mix, which after going through a few boxes, it's like, yeah, there's enough here. I'm going to do well on this pickup. So I'll have more of it on eBay Live tonight at 7 p.m. Central. Let's go back and see the chat. Let's see. Where are we at? Cardboards in the house says, I'd be interested in live selling on your channel. I'm close in Platteville. I just got exposed to Whatnot, and that seems too predatory, in my opinion. Not that appealing to an old guy like me. Yeah. So that's something that I'll be pondering here over the summer. Uncle Rich says that 69 bench is still a $10 card, even in that shape. Red Light wants that bench card. come on out to eBay Live tonight. Maybe I'll throw it on the stream. Rich says 60F Robbie, Frank Robinson, is a semi-high in a nice card. The vintage makes a good addition to your eBay store with fixed prices. And that's probably a lot of that stuff will go fixed price on eBay, because vintage, as if you've been in my eBay Lives, vintage does not move very well on eBay Live, especially the lower grade stuff, which most of that is low grade. So a lot of that stuff will be buy it now in my eBay store. Since that's not yet right for your eBay, there you go. Cardboard says, I was thinking the same thing as Rich. Gem City says, I love vintage, especially the beaters. Those are well loved. Absolutely. Love the vintage beaters. 57, Frank Robbie, rookie Evenet. Shape is a nice card to sell in your store. So far, a win-win-win. That 70s card show says 54. Oh, yeah, I think I said those were 53s, 54s. Rich says, save some of those for Name That Player on Friday. We can probably do that. Kyle says, I really like the 1950s cards. Gem City says, oh, Uncle Rich, I got a Melissa Gilbert auto out of Pop Century right up your alley. Rich says, sure is. You are all learning. I'm just a DOM. Dirty old man. I had to think about it. I'm like, what's a DOM? Dirty old man. And the Korean girls from yesterday. Good Lord. Unicorn Cupcake says, dude wasted a lot of money on grading. Yeah, I don't know, I don't know where, if the person I bought them from was doing the submitting. I don't know if he was just buying stuff. We didn't really get into that. I really don't care where stuff comes from. Like, it's like, yeah. Like, people ask me, they're like, do you open a lot of, because I have, like, you know, when I go to card shows, I have 50 to 75,000 cards in my quarter boxes. And I always get asked, do you open a lot of wax? And it's like, no, I really don't open any wax. Well, how do you get all these cards? And it's funny because the common collector doesn't understand the gravity of cards. It's like, where do you get cards? Like, where a common collector that's not watching YouTube videos on baseball cards, that's not on Twitter talking about cards 24 hours a day, like, they get their cards from the baseball cards store or the card shop. I called it the baseball card. Sound like an old man. Did you go to the baseball card store today? The card shop. They get where do you get boxes of cards? You get wax boxes. You go to Target, you get blaster boxes. And I think the common collector, 99% of the collecting population, they don't get the collection buying and like, oh, I didn't even know you could buy collections on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or da-da-da-da-da. It's amazing how many times every show I get asked, do you open a lot of wax? Where do you get all these cards? Like, that's like the common. I'm like, you ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing. This is a blip on the radar. Let's see, where are we at? John says 1979 BK cards did not have the BK logo. Okay. Only difference is the card number from the Topps base set. Aha. Gem City says, note to the viewers, this is not the Little House on the Prairie circa Melissa Gilbert. Aha. Is it the same Melissa Gilbert or is it a different Melissa Gilbert? Rich says, I understand. I understood that. LOL. Sorry for those who thought otherwise. I was thinking Little House on the Prairie. Is it safe to Google Melissa Gilbert? Maybe not. Uncle Rich says, John, except for Fred Stanley, who somehow is card number 16 in both the base set and the Burger King set. Cooter says, people grading 87 All-Star cards is why SGC has held my T cards hostage going on 2 months. That's surprising for SGC. Baseball card curmudgeon, welcome back. It's been a while. What's up? Unicorn Cupcake says, does anyone know of quality binder pages for SGC graded cards? All I find is PSA only. I don't know. John says, I'll give you $200 for all the Reggie slabs. That's probably a good deal. John says, I'm a common collector and understand the gravity. You are not a common collector. you put out YouTube content and view YouTube baseball card videos, I would not call that the common collector. I would say the common collector is just buying cards, doesn't know that there are circles of weirdos like us on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all the other platforms. Like, I had no idea the gravity of the communities on social media. And we're going 10 years ago. I didn't find like the baseball card Twitter until 2017. I'd been in like Facebook groups, and I remember Dave Arnold, who's in the chat every once in a while. He's not in Vegas anymore. Oh, he's probably teaching. Or wait, no, he's probably not teaching. It's summer. It's June 4th. He's probably not in school. Where's Dave Arnold? He's sleeping in. He's a teacher. It's summer. He's sleeping in. So he's the one that turned me on to Facebook, the baseball card, Keep It Real or whatever. It was at one time the biggest Facebook group on cards. And I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy. And like, yeah, there's other groups too. And I'm like, really? I just thought baseball card collectors just hung out alone in their basements looking at cards. I didn't know there were outlets to talk to other nerds about this on various platforms. Gem City Card Show says, same, just aged. Funny, my daughter loves Little House on the Prairie, so I got into a break because there is a Melissa Gilbert with the Little House on the Prairie photo, and I didn't know there was also the adult MB. Melissa MB. I got the grown-up version. Aha. Scantily clad. So that's what I had for today. Hit up my eBay store, 99centcards.com. Buy it now section, 25% off when you buy 7 or more cards at regular price. Tonight, eBay Live, 7 o'clock Central. It's requests. We'll probably throw some slabs. I've got Pete Crow Armstrong. Another great game from him yesterday afternoon. He's on pace for the 40-40 club. I think I can't remember what his stats are, but I think he's like one of the fastest to ever reach 15 home runs and 20 stolen bases, like the least amount of games. It's like third least, I think, in MLB history. So I'll have that. I've got Paul Skeens, Trout and Acuna. We'll throw some basketball out there. So that's tonight, 7 o'clock Central, eBay Live. Be there, be square. Link in the description. Like and subscribe. Have a wonderful Wednesday. We'll be back tomorrow morning. If I don't see you tonight, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Tonight, eBay Live. All right. See you then.